This is Resolute and the Resolute Podcast, where we are discipling and developing men to live with conviction. I am Vince Miller, your host, and today we are discussing the final of the 9 commitments of Jesus Christ: live in brotherhood. So men, welcome back to the program. If this is your first time tuning in, then thanks for joining us. The Resolute Podcast is produced multiple times every week. We have Resolute study guides that go along with this podcast for your men's group, found on the website for members at beresolute.org. So come back often. Feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or in iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. All the links are on the homepage of the website. So let's dive in. So today we're going to be exploring the importance of brotherhood in our spiritual life. And while, guys, we may not naturally think that we are good at relationships and community, we were designed for community and brotherhood by God Himself. One of the most basic needs in our human life is for relationship inside of community. You know, if we turn back time to the very beginning of the Bible, we see that God created man with an intentional void. Yes, an intentional void. And you know what this void was? A void of relationship, one that God fulfilled for man by providing him with a companion that came from his own DNA. This companion He named woman, and she became the mother of all the living, right? As we understand. You know, even as we fast forward in time to the New Testament, we can see that inside of one of Jesus' greatest teachings, He inferred that we have a deep need for healthy relationship. If you recall Jesus' teaching on the great commandment, the greatest one we've ever been given, which was to love God and love others, inside of this commandment, Jesus assumes that we have a need for relationship, community, and brotherhood, and that love is the glue that holds our eternal or our vertical relationship together with God, and also our temporal or our horizontal relationships together with other men. In this single teaching, we see that Jesus cares immensely about our relationships, community, brotherhood, and our connection to Him. You know, many sociologists have supported this need by stating that the greatest social epidemic of our time is loneliness or aloneness. Often, we naturally evade community and relationship rather than embrace it. We do this for many reasons, often which can be traced back to a moment that we have been hurt by a relationship in a community experience, right? But this unfortunate pain from relationships, community, and brotherhood that has gone wrong does not nullify our deep need for an excellent experience in true brotherhood, because, see, that need just simply does not go away. So today I want to look at how God has designed us for healthy relationship and discover how to build it. Because, guys, even though every one of us have had damaged relationships, right? We have got to find a way to build healthy ones because we were designed for community. You know, as I look back over my life, I got to tell you, I have had very damaged relationships with my mother and father. Both divorced when I was about 2, both remarried again. My biological mother was divorced again. And after that, she had numerous boyfriends in and out of our home. I will say that this had a huge bearing on how I viewed men in my life and even relationships. But my relationship with my biological father was perhaps the most scarring. His absence and desire to not have a relationship with me left me feeling abandoned my whole life. That is until my grandfather began to step into this void and modeled a healthy parental and spiritual relationship for me. While this was hard for me to reconcile in my teen years, I do look back over these years with a renewed understanding of brotherhood because of my grandfather. And because I've been studying God's Word and been learning more about the community that I need in my own life, I'm also trying to pass on a healthy understanding of brotherhood to my sons, who I love, wrestle with, support at their athletic ventures, pray for, and demonstrate godly qualities to in my every interaction. My choice is to break this cycle. And you know what? It's not been easy for me, but reconciling my own needs for brotherhood has helped me to pass on a new legacy to my family, and I hope that this will also be true for you. So today, gentlemen, I want to look at a couple of texts with you, a couple of key texts that I think speak to us profoundly about brotherhood. So each of these texts is going to speak to us about a different aspect of brotherhood. The first discusses the nature of brotherhood. It's from a text today in Luke chapter 8, verses 19 through 21. Here's how it reads. Then his mother and his brothers came to him, but they could not reach him because of the crowd. And he was told, your mother and your brothers are standing outside desiring to see you. But he answered them, my mother and my brothers are those who hear the word of God and do it. Now, again, I love these words. I say that about every one of Jesus' words, but I love these words. I love this moment because what you have here is you have a moment where Jesus is crowded around by people. Many of these people are not genetically related to him. But his mother and brothers are trying to reach him, but they can't surely because of his popularity. And someone outside of the crowd tells him that his mothers and brothers are trying to reach him, and he doesn't chastise them. He just corrects them and helps them to understand what the nature of true brotherhood is. So in this first text, I conclude that brotherhood is not defined by our genetic relationship necessarily, but rather by something that transcends genetics. It's defined by the integration of our hearing and our doing with God's instruction. This means, guys, that true brotherhood is found not only in the hearing of God's instruction, but the application of the text into our life, and through this we find spiritual connection, not only to God, but to each other. Do you see that here? This is the nature of true spiritual brotherhood, is that when I connect myself to God's teaching and then I apply it to my life, I am engaging in a special fraternal order that connects me to a deep spiritual brotherhood, not only with other Christian men, but also with God himself. That means that it isn't about my physical proximity or the genetic characteristics that bring me together into brotherhood. It has more to do with the things that I hear, absorb into my mind, and then put into practice in my life that connect me deeply to who God is and to other people. I believe this is a key text in us understanding the nature of true brotherhood. So let me read the next text for you. It's actually Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20, a very popular text when we're discussing about accountability. I call this text the accountability of brotherhood. Here's how it reads. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen, even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say to you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am among them. Now, I love this second text because we see a process here. For all our engineers listening today, you instantly caught on to the process. There is a process of accountability being discussed here. While this sounds a little strenuous and arduous, we're given a process that is designed to build brotherhood and to reconcile it. That's the purpose of this. It's not to cast people out from among us. It's to bring about a process of reconciliation that leads to healed relationships. Of course, in some cases, this ends up separating us from a relationship or moving a relationship into a different stage, right? But always with the hope of reconciliation down the road. What is curious to me from this text is that a willingness to be held accountable would be the stopgap in this whole process. The process assumes that if we're willing to accept the truth about us, that unity, brotherhood, and community can mend and maybe find solutions to the issues that divide us. So what this means, guys, is that if we are willing to submit to a process of accountability, that we're going to find that unity is built, healing's built, and that our benefit to a brotherhood, to accountability, to the kingdom is far more effective because there's blessings from it. Because where two or more gathered, there I am in the midst of them, right? And, well, there's blessings that flow from that. Now, the third text is a little different. This is from John 17, verses 20 to 23 here. And what I want to see here are the resources and impact of brotherhood. It reads, "I do not ask for these only, but also for those who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us, so that the world may believe you have sent me. The glory that you have given me, I have given to them, that they may be one even as we are one, I and them, and you and me, that they may become perfectly one, so that the world may know that you sent me and loved them even as you loved me." In this third text, we see Jesus' desire for oneness, right, and brotherhood. This text is what we often call the high priestly prayer by Jesus. We see here Jesus' heart for our unity and brotherhood and the resources found in brotherhood through our unity, including glory and grace and love for others that contribute in the end to the advancement of God's mission. So when we live in brotherhood, this is what it means. We have an expanding influence on the world. And this was Jesus' desire for us. 3 beautiful texts, right? Each teaching something different and all kinds of incredible blessings found inside of brotherhood and community. Integration with God and others, accountability that benefits healing and reconciliation, and oneness that advances the mission of God. I love each and every one of these things. And guys, I want you to really embrace the thoughts behind all this, because you know what we need more of in this world, especially in Christianity? We need more brotherhood. We need more men willing to embrace brotherhood that actually lives out the spiritual nature of what Jesus Christ intended for each and every one of us. And by submitting ourselves to accountability inside of that brotherhood and living inside of that accountability, we thus can have the resources and impact for the kingdom that Jesus Christ wants us to have. So, gentlemen, my encouragement to you this week is this: seek brotherhood for yourself. Seek it out. Live in it. Desire it. and discover the beauty of it. Because as your heart begins to heal, you will discover the incredible benefits of beautiful brotherhood that bless you as well as the kingdom around you. Well, guys, that's the show. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed our time today, I hope you will pass along this podcast to other men you know. Just head to our website, beresolute.org, for the Resolute app, or just share this feed with someone. Men, I want to encourage you to find a couple of other men to join in with you. Listening on your own is great, but doing this with other men is way better. Just push play on the podcast and have a conversation with someone else. Send it to them. Pick up the phone. Talk to them. Do something. You need brotherhood. You cannot do life alone. So, guys, get off the bench. Get into the game. And please join us next time for another edition of the Resolute Podcast.